Our story of the week in lesson 29 is called Two of Everything. And you can see a picture here of the author and illustrator. So that means she wrote the story and she drew the pictures. Her name is Lily Toy Hong. This story, remember, is a folk tale. And that's a story that's often told by people of a country. So Nicaragua might have their own folk tales. The United States has many folk tales that have developed over time. Folktales often involve something that's not completely true, that probably can't happen in real life. And we'll probably learn a lesson from these characters in this folktale. I like the pictures. They look kind of cartoony and fun. So I think it's going to be a fun story. As we read today, we're going to be thinking about characters. What happens to the characters and then how do they respond? Once long ago, in a humble little hut, lived Mr. Hacktack and his wife, Mrs. Hacktack. All right, so we have our two main characters, Mr. and Mrs. Hacktack. They were old and very poor. What little they ate came from their tiny garden. Wow, they grew their own food. Next page, 489. In a lucky year when the harvest was plentiful, Mr. Hacktack had a little extra to take to the village. There he traded turnips, potatoes, and other vegetables for clothing, lamp oil, and fresh seeds. One spring morning when Mr. Hacktack was digging in his garden, his shovel struck or hit something hard. Boom, boom. Puzzled, he dug deeper into the dark ground until he came upon an ancient, that means really old, a really old pot made out of brass. Brass is a type of metal. How odd or strange, said Mr. Hacktack to himself, to think that I have been digging here all these years and never came upon this pot before. I will take it home. Maybe Mrs. Hacktack can find some use for it. All right, so let's think already what happened to Mr. Hacktack. Mr. Hacktack is a character. What happens? Well, he finds a pot. What does he do? What's his reaction? Well, he says it's odd, but he's going to take it to his wife. That shows he trusts his wife and wants her to figure out what she can use it for. Next page, 491. The pot was big. Oh, wow, look at it strapped to his back. The pot was big and heavy for old Mr. Hacktack. As he stumbled along, his purse, which contained or held his last 5 gold coins, fell to the ground. He tossed it, his purse, into the pot for safekeeping and staggered home. So you can see in that picture, he can't use his hands to pick up and carry his purse. So when it fell, he picked it up and tossed it into the brass pot. His wife greeted him at the door. "Dear husband, what a strange pot." Mr. Hacktack explained how he found the pot. "I wonder what we can do with it," said Mrs. Hacktack. "It looks too large to cook in and too small to bathe in or to take a bath in." Next page. As Mrs. Hacktack leaned over to peer or to look into the pot, her hairpin, the only one she owned, fell in. She felt around in the pot, and suddenly her eyes grew round with surprise. "Look," she shouted, "I've pulled out 2 hairpins, exactly alike, and 2 purses, too." Sure enough, the purses were identical, and so were the hairpins, and inside each purse were 5 gold coins. Remember, on his walk home, he had tossed his purse into the pot, and now it seems like anything you put into the pot doubles. Cool. Next page. Mr. Hacktack was so excited he jumped up and down. "Let's put my winter coat inside the pot. If we are lucky again, the pot will make 2 coats, and then we will both stay warm." So into the pot went 1 coat, and out came, you guessed it, 2 coats. They began to search or look around the house and quickly put more things into the magical pot. "Oh, if only we had some meat," wished Mr. Hacktack, "or fresh fruit, or 1 delicious sweet cake." All right, so let's think about the characters here. When they discovered that this pot makes double of anything that you put in it, what did Mr. Hacktack do? What does the text say? Yeah, he was so excited, he jumped up and down, and he ran around to find more things to put into the pot, like his coat. At the end of this page, she's beginning to wish for other things that they don't have to make double of. I wonder if that will cause problems later in the story. Mrs. Hacktack smiled. I know how we can get anything we want, she said. She put their 10 coins into one purse and then threw it into the pot. She pulled out 2 purses with 10 coins in each, so now they have 20. What a clever wife I have, cried Mr. Hacktack. Each time we do this, we will have twice as much money as before. The Hacktacks worked late into the night, filling and emptying the pot until the floor was covered with coins. So let's do some math here. If you put in 5 coins, you'll get out how many? 10. If you put in 10, you'll get, what's 10 plus 10? 20. If you put the 20 in, you'll get out 20 plus 20, 40. And then you put the 40 in, you'll get another 40, so that will be 80. Wow, they are going to get rich quickly, aren't they? Morning came, and off went Mr. Hacktack with a long list of things to buy in the village. Instead of vegetables, his basket was full of gold coins. Mrs. Hacktack finished all her chores and sat down to enjoy a cup of tea. She sipped her tea and admired the brass pot. Then, with a grateful heart, a happy, thankful heart, she knelt, that means getting down on her knees, and she embraced it or hugged it. Dear pot, I do not know where you came from, but you are my best friend. She stooped over the pot to look inside. All right, so I don't know that a problem has happened yet, and I'm nervous that something bad is about to happen. Do you have any predictions about what might happen to our characters? Yeah. At that moment, Mr. Hacktack returned. His arms were so full of packages that he had to kick the door open. Bang! Mrs. Hacktack was so startled that she lost her balance and fell head first into the pot. Mr. Hacktack ran over and grabbed his wife's legs. He pulled and tugged until she slid out onto the floor. But when he looked at the pot again, he gasped. 2 more legs were sticking straight out of it. So naturally, he took hold of the ankles and pulled. Out came a second person. She looked exactly like his wife. Oh my goodness. The new Mrs. Hacktack sat silently on the floor, looking lost. But the first Mrs. Hacktack cried, I am your one and only wife. Put that woman back into the pot right now. Mr. Hacktack yelled, no, if I put her back, we won't have 2 women, but 3. 1 wife is enough for me. He backed away from his angry wife and tripped and fell headfirst into the pot himself. All right, so let's think about our characters again. What happened? Well, Mrs. Hacktack fell in the pot, and when she came out, there were 2 of her. And how did Mr. Hacktack react? Did he want 2 wives? No, she was jealous. She was mad. She said, I'm your one and only wife. Put that woman back into the pot. So I think she was a little upset about the idea of him having 2 wives. And he said, no, he did not want to have another wife or 3 wives, so he wanted just 1. But now he fell into the pot. Both Mrs. Hacktacks rushed to rescue him. Each grasped an ankle, and together they pulled him out. There were 2 more legs in the pot, so they pulled out the other Mr. Hacktack too. Just what use does one Mr. Hacktack have for another? Mr. Hacktack cried angrily. This pot is not as wonderful as we thought it to be. Now even our troubles are beginning to double. But his wife had been thinking while he was yelling. All right, so let's think about these characters. When there's a problem, the pot is not working as they thought. What is Mr. Hacktack doing? He's yelling. He's upset. And what is Mrs. Hacktack doing? It says she was thinking. So that shows us a difference in character. It seems like Mr. Hacktack loses his temper a little bit more quickly. He's more excitable. But Mrs. Hacktack likes to think and solve problems. Calm down, she said. It's good that the other Mrs. Hacktack has her own Mr. Hacktack. Perhaps we will become best of friends. After all, we are so alike. He will be a brother to you and she a sister to me. With our pot, we can make 2 of everything, so there will be plenty to go around. And that's what they did. The Hacktacks built 2 fine new homes. Each house had identical or exactly the same teapots, rice bowls, silk embroideries like silk blankets or things that were sewed, and bamboo furniture. From the outside, the houses looked exactly alike, but there was one difference. Hidden in one house was a big brass pot. Could they make two of those? I don't think so. Of course, the Hacktacks were always very careful not to fall into it again. The new Hacktacks and the old Hacktacks did become friends, good friends. The neighbors thought the Hacktacks had grown so rich they decided to have two of everything, even themselves. Would you enjoy finding a pot like that? What would be the first thing you would put into your magical brass pot to get two of? Would you jump in yourself to have two of you? Man, it's kind of fun to imagine if this was a true story, but we know it's just a folk tale. It's not true. But I wonder what's the lesson of this story? What's something we learn from it? It seems like these people could be a little bit greedy and want more and more, but they weren't punished for wanting more and more. Some stories, I thought this story was going to end where they got into trouble and would get rid of the brass pot and learn how to be content with what they have. But that's not really the lesson. We'll look more at possible lessons next time. I hope you guys enjoyed that story. It was really an interesting story to read.